Hey, how's everybody doing? Happy Monday. I hope everybody had a great weekend. I wanted to make a video. I always start off by saying that this is going to be a quick video and I go on a little bit of a rant. I wanted to talk about music notation. Ah, there you go. You can see some of it this way, depending upon how it looks. Music notation. Very, very important. And really, this is more due to the fact that I was watching a video, and the video had was titled "The Top 20 Inventions That Changed Music," and number one on that list is music notation. And I thought to myself, man, would I order music notation and put it as number one? Period. And I started thinking about when people talk about things, they basically base it really more on their upbringing, obviously their culture, and I think they're talking more about westernized music. Let's put it that way. Obviously, I read music. I understand music theory at a certain level. I think it's very, very important for translation from generation to generation. But I would never, if I came up with a list, put music notation as one of the top, as number one. Okay, and I know what inventions are and things of that nature. I think it's more of a westernized way of understanding music. The reason that I'm making this video is I think by virtue of you putting music notation that high up, you're really talking about westernized music. There are tons and tons of music, westernized culture that people, passed on the music really through an oral tradition. And I think by virtue of putting music notation number one, you end up forgetting that aspect and denigrating that aspect of an oral tradition um, to second class status. And this is not to take away from the importance of music notation, but I think you're talking about Bach and you're talking about, Beethoven, and you're talking about Western music. You really are not talking about all music. You're not talking about African music, Caribbean music. This is not to say that these scholars and these folks do not read music. There are tons and tons of people who come from a third world and oral tradition that do understand that. And this is important to me because I come from a culture where the language itself was not a written language until X amount of time. Let's put it that way. And I'm not going to go into that. But that doesn't mean that people didn't communicate and the communication wasn't effective. So it is more of a Western ideology to think that music notation should be something that's number one. That's all I have to say. I'll put it in the link as far as a guest who talked about music notation being the number one thing. And like I said, this is not to take away from that, but there's so much that music notation can never capture. Okay? It cannot capture. All right. Music notation does not capture swing. Yes, time does. Quarter notes, half notes, quarter rest, half rest. And I think that you have to have an oral tradition to pass certain things on. Not only should it just be a written tradition, and that aspect of it, as far as coming number one, is a pet peeve of mine. And love music notation. I think we should continue it. But please do not tell me that music notation is the number one invention. That's westernized society's way of thinking about it. And we live in Western society, so that's what we're talking about. So anyway, sorry about the rant. I'll put the link in the in this video so you guys can take a look at it yourself, formulate your own opinion. I'd be curious to get people's opinion of that video that I'm referring to. All right then, thank you so much and have a great one. Bye now.